Hello, welcome back to the Situation Corner. My name is Elizabeth Zipora. I'll call your host as always. Well, for those that are just tuning in, remember the Situation Corner is a platform and a program that brings you a youthful perspective of the current affairs, be it in politics, business, the economy, and literally everything. So today on the show, we have a lovely gentleman. I'm going to give him the honor to introduce himself before I come forth and give you the topic of discussion today. Welcome, Derek.
Thank you, Zippo. Namaka Derek Frederick, lawyer by profession, and a human rights advocate. I'm a legal officer with Foundation for Human Rights Initiative in Zambia, and at the same time, legal researcher with Wakiso District Human Rights Committee, and also officiate Maisha Legal Lab based in Chikoni, a legal aid-based center. So I believe perspective regarding youth cannot be put aside from law and from the human rights perspective, because we've witnessed seeing youth really being victims of various perhaps economic oppression, political oppression, social and cultural oppression. So when you're analyzing the youthful perspective vis-a-vis various fields, it's key also to focus on the human rights perspective.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Derek, for that brief introduction. Now to the topic of discussion. We really want to know, we are going to talk about security. And when I talk about security, this comes up with the number of deaths that we've had since, I don't know which year, since we got our own independence, the number of presidents that have come in, and most recently that all of us have gotten indulged with or more familiar with are the deaths, the number of deaths that have occurred during the elections, during and post-elections, and even right now. So are we safe as the young people? As a youth, safe? Can we really bring it on as, I don't know, are we really safe in general?
Question to me?
It's a question to all of us. Let me give a recap. We've had, just of recent, we had that General Katumba was shot. Yeah, he was shot, and of course, two deaths occurred. That is of his driver and of his daughter. His daughter, who is a youth.
Yeah.
So if they are targeting these political leaders, these leaders in their different capacities, how are we affected? We are affected, but should we really be affected?
Yeah, you ought to be affected.
Okay.
That is the thing we have to know as youth. We ought to be affected. In two ways. Some caliber of the youth are totally targeted because perhaps of the political wave and also the economic oppression. Because we might be analyzing the deaths of youths or the deaths going on all over Uganda, and many media houses are only focusing on the political perspective. But also remember that the number of youth that are dying on a daily basis because of the economic oppression, also the rate really is alarming. Okay. So the first thing I could say is that the youth are targeted one or another. Two, some youths are taken as collateral damages. Okay. So right now we're having the death of the driver to General Katumba Wamala. Yes. We're having his daughter. But even a blind or unborn child really could see that they were in the target. The target was the big man himself. Yes. So we are seeing the daughter passing on as collateral damage. We're seeing the drivers passing on as collateral damage. But also, as we are asking ourselves the number of youth dying, also ask yourself this particular question. How many drivers have passed on? And how many drivers are going to pass on under the umbrella of persecution, killings, whatever you could call it?
People in different sectors.
Thank you. So we might be, you see, whenever these things happen, we put our focus on the big people.
Forgetting.
The late Felix Kawes. Yes. The late Chirumira. The late, is it Major Chigozi sort of, the former husband to Mama Fina. But we are forgetting, or we fail to focus also to put much attention or to be empathetic to these drivers. Even you might find out that some of the drivers, most of them are youth, because now this is the trend all over the army. At least you have to be a youth for you to be flexible, to be able to drive the big people. So they end up dying as collateral damage. You end up seeing the affiliated youths, friends to the big persons, dying. The daughter to General Katumba is not the first person. You remember clearly back in Kulambiro when we had Chirumira passing on. She was together with the friends. She was a youth, but she wasn't the target. So I would call upon the media houses and all any other person, together with the viewers, to know that the youths are not safe in today's Uganda. You might be there and you're totally quiet, but tomorrow the person is going to pass on as collateral damage. That's why I'm in love with the quotation of the late Chirumira. Whether I say it or I don't say it, I'll die.
True.
So I'm not fearing anything that I will not die or whatever. Truth is, all of us shall die, but the scenario you're dying in matters.
So either way, the youth are a target. But we want to find out, in this perspective, the number of people that died, say Chirumira, say Abiriga, say Felix, even the recent attempted assassination, you'll find that in these different investigations, a number of youth were also part of the people being investigated, part of the people brought in and for custody,
in police.
I beg my pardon, into police as suspects. So what is it? It's all revolving around the youth. As a human rights advocate, as a person working with the human rights, how are we going to deal with it? Because we have a right to live. Yes, but we also have a right to have a job. And you're going to find that if a youth is put in front of these assassinations, they must have offered them a huge, I beg your pardon. They must have offered them a huge amount of money. So either way, I believe it's targeting the youth. But now how are we going to try and fight that as young people? Yeah,
thank you. There's no way you're going to fight it as young people when the government is not willing to help the young people. You see, at the end of the day, it is only one cause that is forcing these young people to go into. Analyze the categories of young people getting involved in these particular massacres or scenarios. We have the victims being the youth. For example, in today's saga, now the late daughter to General Katumba Wamala. We have the perpetrators themselves being the youth. You find them driving border borders, they are perpetrators, they are youth. You find also other professionals where we have youths passing on being the youth. I go back to my earlier on statement where I say that these youths are not only targeted politically, but also targeted economically. Let's go back to what you people do most. That is the field of journalism, whatever you can call it. So the media field, you analyze that most of the affected journalists are not old, are not aged.
Are still youth.
Are still youth. But they are oppressed, or even they are killed during the line of work. So that means that it is not politically motivated, rather it is economical in one way or another.
True.
So we have youths taking part generally because of kintu kidogo, looking for muogo, looking for what to eat. So the would-be perpetrators are looking for what to eat. Their minds are being put into a basket, into a bottle by the would-be conspiracies or by the would-be people behind all of the plan. So an example like today's saga, even a person might say that, why is it General Katumba Wamala? Because of us, we know that he's a kind man, is what? So the question would
besides the political aspect?
Besides the political aspect, the thing would be, why Katumba Wamala? Because a fact is, we don't know what happens behind the doors. They might be having their own conflicts. They might be, whether economic or political, they might be whatsoever. But according to me, if I'm to own this particular statement as Derek, according to me, I believe that the political wave as of now, even the head of state might not be knowing of this attempted murder, that even has just known about
After the
this right
incident
now after the
happened.
incident. But I believe there would be like a clique which is targeting the youth. The clique using the youth. For example, you might find out that there is a particular group of people calling perhaps itself a black operation, whatever agency, targeting to use the youth because really we have nothing to do. Even though you have something to do, you're not getting enough economic support to take you throughout the life.
So you'll just come through, the money is there, I'm up for it.
Come for it if you want to get money, you're manipulated and they end up using you. And you might end up, this particular week we're in a period which is totally bad, not only political, but tensional, because now these people are targeting or are waiting for the appointment from the head of state.
From the head of state.
So you never know. Last 2 days, there was a fake list which was going on, cabinet list. And if you are to analyze where Major General Katumba Wamala was, you see that this person, even his history has been in various positions. So as of now, which any other office can you bestow to this particular person?
True.
There might be only 3 offices.
Which are?
One which might be the Minister for Defense, Vice President, and little of that, because one of it we gave it out, which is the President of Uganda. So that one is off. So having now the 2 struggles, the Vice President vis-a-vis the Minister of Defense, and I remember on that particular list, the person, General Katumba was put on the Minister of Defense. So you think that is the only person eyeing for that particular position.
But there are definitely many people.
So there are definitely many. That's why when I say that even the head of state might be green about this, but perhaps there might be a fight ongoing targeting that particular position. Economically, there might be some deals going on because the person can't just wake up one morning and I target you for what? So
who would want to kill him, honestly?
Youths are being used. And as such, we are not safe because the economy is not friendly.
But in as much as the economy is not friendly, as a young person, how are you going to try and sensitize yourself on an individual level and also on a general perspective to find that if such temptations come through, do not at least fall victim of this?
You know, they say...
Because chances are high that you're going to get caught. Chances are high that you're the very person that is going to come up front into the media, onto social media, and tell us, oh, the youth are used, or the youth are oppressed, or the youth are this. But then you're letting yourself be used. How are you going to fight it?
Should I ask you one question?
Please do.
When you're in a dilemma, you're in between a rock and a hard wall, what are you left with?
Sometimes giving up to the enemy is not the right thing.
No, I'm not saying giving up, because each and every person is having a religion is affiliated to.
True.
And regardless of the religion, there is what we call a golden principle. That golden principle cuts across the entire religions. That is, if I'm to say the Christians, the Bible, Quran to the Muslims, we have the Analects of Confucius to the Confucians, we have the Judaism, whatsoever the religion you could call it. But one of the foundation of the Analects of Confucius is the golden principle, which also the Bible shares and the Quran, which says that do unto others what you would wish to do to be done unto you. That goes back to what we could call love. First, even before looking for something else as a youth, even before loving, I have to first love my life, right?
Yeah.
So if I know the value of my life because I love my life, that means that I can't wake up one morning and I commit suicide or and I take over my life. That will be the same, like I will have to value life the same. So one, if I know the value of life, then there is a way I will not end up killing some person and being used. Two is the current situation in Uganda. It has left us with only and only one option. Only and only one option. One option, I repeat this, which is prayer. Because whatever we shall do, it has been done. If I'm to make an example, is when I was making my research, undergrad research, it was on the causes and legal effects of massive killings in Uganda. Straight away from 1932. I mean 1962 when Uganda attained its high independence, you come to realize that some of these things that are happening right now
Happen back.
happened back. So there's nothing new. Just that perhaps there would be new thing available is some persons to hide behind the laws. That one of the regimes we had prior even didn't respect the laws. We saw the Obote, the killings that happened throughout the Obote, the Lubili attack. We saw various killings. And on Amin's time, we saw various killings also. We saw the Luum killing around Nakasero. We saw the Bombo killings, among others. Then also during the His Excellency Buhabura's time, we have seen various killings, and these killings also are judicial. So whether you could run away from the usual killing, you cannot run away from the surprising killing, which is you being a collateral damage. And you might end up protecting yourself not to take part. But my dear, death will look for you. Third, it is judicial killing. Also, you can't survive that. So the messages, we have seen the political activists, we have seen the human rights activists, we have seen various activists regarding the field coming up really to call off perhaps for a dialogue or whatever, but has failed. So there is only one option, which is prayer. The second best option would be dialogue, because I believe if the government... Which has
somewhat failed.
And I believe it has failed because also of persons trying to dialogue it. Yeah, we have seen that it has passed through various organizations. We have seen the Interreligious Council coming in, among others, but it has failed. But again, hope is key, because when you being prayerful as the last option, you ought to be hopeful. Hope is key. So we have to be hopeful to what we call dialogue, and we continue insisting for what we call dialogue, regarding of the perhaps the government, the political party, regardless of the tribe, regardless of the religion, as one person, as a child of God, or as a person belonging to a certain religion. We just have to come together, round table. Then we get out with all this.
Okay, so as we wrap up and come to the end of the show, I'm going to ask you one single question. As a human rights activist, where do the youth stand? Are we safe or are we not safe? And what should we do to be safe right now?
One, we are not safe. That's why I refer to the cries of Lord Mayor, Tugenda Kufa. And we are still dying. So that means we are not safe.
Yes.
Two, what we ought to do. One is to know that we have life and to value our life. Let's avoid unnecessary fights, unnecessary wars, which even do not affect us or help us. So by avoiding unnecessary wars and being, you end up avoiding being manipulated, being used. And as such, those people who are using you are old. They will not take up their guns themselves to come because they fear to come before the cameras. But now for you being used, they will drop you. So avoid being manipulated. And lastly, pray as you dialogue. Okay.
Thank you very, very much. We have come to the end of this episode. Thank you for keeping it locked at the Situation Corner. And for those that still do not know what the Situation Corner is all about, we bring you a youthful perspective of all current affairs, be it political, business, health, name it. Thank you again for keeping locked at the Situation Corner. This is Faraja Digital Television, and I'm your host, Elizabeth Zipora Akol. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel, that is Faraja DTV. Follow us on all our social media platforms, that is Faraja DTV on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thank you. Have a good day.